AI agents are everywhere. Everybody's talking about it. But the question is, are they really useful? And most importantly, what should a business do even before they think about building an AI agent? That's what we're going to talk about today. So let's dive in.
Welcome to Your AI Reality Check, a podcast dedicated to helping businesses get smart about using AI and start getting real results. No more fluff, no more confusion, no random tool suggestions. It's time to dish up some real AI strategies. Let's dive in.
So an agent typically, would have access to the same tools as an automation would, depending on the platform you're using. In fact, you can make an automation in a platform like NAN, which follows a sequence of actions to reach a final output. But an agent can intuitively decide between the various apps which one it should choose first based on the problem that it's problem that it's facing.
Yeah.
But all of the success of that agent's ability to access all of the tools is it's still predefined. Like, you've already predefined what its purpose is when it comes to interacting with the tool. So let me give you an example. If you wanted to do an agent that was an automated booking system and you had Telegram linked up or WhatsApp, NAN can look for these booking signals from your other apps, and then it will look in your calendar for the next most available time slot, and based off the length of the consultancy, it can provide a few recommendations on a best ideal time slot for the person, and without you even having to go to your calendar, whip it up, have a look, and trying to figure that out for yourself. It's already doing that in the background without you even having to do anything. So it's kind of managing that onboard call, which is important for sales. But then I guess when an area where it can go wrong is because of its ability to work autonomously if it doesn't have access to certain tools or other agents, because agents can talk with other agents and then trigger other agents. And that's already in itself quite complex and probably worth a separate podcast. But for someone who's got their money on this agent, where the agent's responsible for managing things related to the finance of the business, then is a quite high risk. So
Absolutely. I recently was working for an HVAC business and I was using 11 Labs with N8N to build this voice agent. And one of the other things that it wasn't getting right is the context. The agent doesn't always understand the context of the conversation. There could be cultural differences, there could be language barriers. So it doesn't always get right what the user is trying to say. So I think in many cases, it makes for a really nice, cool demo. It makes for a really cool YouTube video. But in practical use, if you do enough testing, if you're doing 100 tests on it, you might get at least 10 of them wrong because the agent, you'll realize, hasn't really got the context right. Or like you said, doesn't have access to the tools properly.
They'll have access to the tool, but if you haven't predefined how it can use these tools, what it's used for and how to use them, go to inbox, check this inbox, categorize, look through this category. And if you haven't done those, predefine those settings, then it's not going to intuitively go like a worker. Like a worker would intuitively go, oh, we should check out junk mail and just have a look for this random email, see if it's...
Yeah.
It's not going to think like a human would. That it will do based off, the instructions that's been given.
Another thing that I have noticed is that if your agent is doing any sort of customer facing role, so for example, the agent is sending a confirmation email to the customer, that can get tricky as well because it can still hallucinate. It can still get some dates wrong. It can get some details wrong. So I feel like there has to be so much of testing that needs to be done before it can be made live. But if it's an internal tool that one is building to make your internal teams more productive, I've seen agents being able to go live much faster as opposed to a customer facing AI agent that takes much longer. So are AI agents really just a big hype bubble, or do they really have any real world applications? It's just all over LinkedIn. It's all over Reddit. It's all over Twitter. Everybody's talking about, well, AI is just one big hype. There isn't really much use for it today. It's not ready. I want to know what you think about that.
I've seen the same thing, and in a way, I'm like, oh, wow, they're using agents. Like, I wonder how they're using agents. And then, usually on LinkedIn, you'll see this massive, like, super sophisticated, overcomplicated day-in build. And then they'll walk through it, and I'm like, where's tell us about the value for the business. Like, how much time do they save with this? How much money do they make with this? What can they achieve? Like, how many bookings can they make? They'll just, quite point out that, all these things can be made. But I think when it comes to agents itself, the big question everyone asking is like, is this like all it's set out to be? Like, you're like, yeah, you can make a ton of content, but like, is it good quality? I can just go on ChatGPT and make a blog post, but you're just making a bunch of content. So there's a great deal of education around this space that people aren't even talking about without seeing that value and application for the business and how it's going to actually make an impact to their sales or their traffic or the engagement, whatever their goals are. Then it's kind of like what's the point? Like I'm not against agents. I just think that like from my opinion, from what I've seen and the builds that I've seen, it can do incredible things, but to let it replace a human, I don't think it's there yet. And that's what people think when they think, oh, an agent, oh my gosh, it can replace a person. Why do I need staff members? And then staff are like, oh my gosh, my job, I'm going to lose my job over an AI agent.
Yeah.
In reality, first of all, like if you were to try to replace a person, like you could probably replace maybe 5 of the tasks that they have to do every single week that are just tedious and that just take so long. Like you can replace those tasks.
Mm-hmm.
You can't replace the person because it doesn't work intuitively. And people think that, oh, we'll just get an agent and we'll just run it and then it'll run our business for us. We're not there yet. I kind of cringe when I see some YouTube videos and they're like, I replaced myself with an agent. I'm like, you can't replace yourself. You can't beat the top quality stuff. It's like going to a restaurant. Like you go to a restaurant and they've got delicious, authentic Italian spaghetti, but you can also get a can at the shop and have spaghetti. Like you can also buy the ingredients and then make some spaghetti, but nothing beats that authenticante Italiano spaghetti,
Have you ever tested with text on image sort of prompts? That's still not working. If you are trying to build images where you want text on images, you can use any platform you want. It doesn't even spell the words properly. You ask it to write cat, it's going to say K.
Yeah.
So,
you can make templates.
Sorry?
You can make templates with Canva. Did you know that?
You can make templates with Canva, but it's most certainly not
Sit
as
there.
autonomous. Yeah. So I agree with you when it comes to AI or AI agents. There's just a whole lot of hype there, but there should be a human in the loop. I've seen how when you have like a social media content generation system run on its own, where it's creating content, posting content and everything, that's not going to perform well at all. Versus if you have a human in the loop and that human's job is to edit the content, approve the content, and then it triggers another workflow, which then posts the content. That now is a completely different story. The human in the loop is so important when it comes to these systems. But I also think that you need to look at data optimization, a bit of a tech audit. There is so much background work that needs to be done before you can make an AI agent live. So if the AI agent is accessing, let's say, some customer data, and that customer data is not up to date at all, then it's going to throw out bad output. It's not going to be reliable at all. So
you need an automation to clean that data to then put it into an AI agent.
Yes, yeah. So you need to first clean your data. You need to have data optimization. You need to have a bit of a technical audit to make sure all of your tools are actually set up properly. Most likely, if it's a complex multi-step, multi-agent workflow, you ideally want to have like an MVP and also some sort of like a team training that needs to happen so that they can adopt the agent. There are just so many steps that need to happen before an agent can even help your business. So I think that piece is missing in the overall discussion about how powerful the agents are. I think a lot needs to go into the process before you can even make the agent live. And even then there has to be multiple tests that have to happen all the time. And I'm always a little bit more careful when it comes to customer facing agents anyway, as opposed to internal agents.
And on the other side of that coin, I find that if agents actually, if they were to work well for anything, they work well with things that require, they have several layers of possibilities. Like the agent itself has that capability to respond to quite dynamic queries. Like say, it's great for a chatbot because, it can handle a range of different queries. Whereas if you were to, do something like a chatbot in Make, it probably won't work unless it's like predefined. So I think like N8N has its power for some things. Anything to do with these type of scenarios would be like ideal for N8N. And I've seen it actually, some creators do it through this way, whereas I've previously done it through ChatGPT by, training the model on the business and training it on various different FAQs. But, what exactly, is a chatbot? Its job is to answer questions like an FAQ. So they kind of, doesn't matter whether you use N8N or another chatbot platform and plugging that into, an system that's been built around your product in the back end of OpenAI. Like these are also possible scenarios, but I think if there's something where N8N shines, it is customer facing dynamic interaction.
I suppose what I was trying to say is that you can't just come to an AI consultancy or an AI agency and say, hey, this is what I want to achieve. Go and build me the N8N workflow, and they'll build the workflow and you can just make it live. That's not going to
We'll give it a good try.
Yeah. You can most certainly build a very nice fancy N8N workflow, but that doesn't mean you should just make it live. There's a whole lot of other work that needs to happen within the business, making sure that the data is clean, that there's some technical audit done, there's some behavioral changes that have happened. Once those things are done, then you might actually see it performing and getting you the outcomes that you wanted to get. So yeah, I feel like we've covered quite a bit there.
We hope you like this podcast. Join us in the next episode where we dive into some solid AI solutions for small to medium-sized businesses. Don't forget to like and follow. If you want to know how AI can help your business specifically, come and find us on LinkedIn.